Hello, it's great to have you here on a webinar talking about Google Docs for team collaboration. My name is Greg Sumner.
And I'm Tina Olson. I'm the teacher for the physically impaired here at the Northern Lights Co-op.
We've been using Google Docs for collaboration for at least 6 months here in a really strong manner, and we're excited to share with you some opportunities of how it can save you time and increase communications on teams.
And that you don't have to travel and meet as a team all the time.
I'm an occupational therapist. I work in about 3 different school districts in the area.
And I work with all 12 districts in the area here, so this helps me a lot that I don't have to travel, all the time to meet with teams, and we can make comments on these documents.
And especially the teams that we're on, a lot of times can be at least 10 people on a team, and so it's really hard to get all those people in a room. So this has been an example of we don't have to be face-to-face, but even when we are face-to-face, it even improves communication when you are face-to-face. So doing this doesn't mean you have to give up on one or the other. So we're going to start with some top tips and guidelines for collaborative Google Docs as things we've been learning along the way here. So I'm going to start with number 5 because I'm not linear anymore. This is kind of you have to have faith that this plane will keep flying as you're building it. That's just what it does work. People have been using these features for at least 5-6 years, and Google isn't going to go away. So it's just have faith that it'll work and go for it.
And back to number 1, the main issue we've had is to have one person be the editor so that they can make the changes, they can resolve the comments so that the comments on there will go away so it doesn't look all cluttered on there. So just having one person be the facilitator of the document and the owner of it.
So that's where the main editor is the owner. They get all of the comments show up right away. And so it's kind of the goal is to not have comments all over the place. One of the things that's been helpful for us is like when we do get together in person, we go through and resolve all the comments if they haven't been resolved. And so then we take those comments and blend it into the document. So those are some ways that we found that have been helpful to kind of keep it clean and go through that.
And the third one is you have to remember you need to share with the collaborators. You go under File and it says Share Collaborators.
Right here. This is one of the key features, Email Collaborators. And you click on that and it'll like send it out to whoever's attached to this document. You can type your message in here and you don't have to have a separate email then. But you don't have to send 2 emails, one with the link and one with the the email. It just saves clicks.
And if you want to, you can send it to yourself so you have a copy.
Mm-hmm. That's a really nice way to do it, and then you know what you're sending. So those are some of the biggest things here to help you.
And another big one is number 4 is to have the directions at the top of the page so that the team knows what you're working on that agenda or document.
There we go. So now we're going to jump into some examples and different ways we've been using this. Tina's going to start here with the communication summary.
So every few months, special ed teachers get together with the director and coordinators at the forestry center to go over new things that are happening that they need to bring back to their schools. So this is one way you can make a Google Doc and you can communicate with your staff. You can write up a summary, then plus you can share with your team. And here's the team that has been shared with for this document. Over here you have edit rights, or some people just have comment rights. You click in there, you can give edit or comment or just view rights to each different person. And this way then the ones that can edit are usually the owners of the document.
We've had it sometimes where the case manager might ask one other person to help blend information in there. It's just the goal of having like one editor of a newspaper, kind of that same kind of theory. So this is one example.
And this way then when you go to child study meeting, you can talk about some of the comments that have been on the page and resolve some of those at the meeting, or if people have extra questions about some of those. So that's just one way to use Google Docs with the communication summary.
So I'm going to talk about this document. We had so much fun kind of working through this document as a way of showing how this works. So some of the key features I'm going to show you is that I would constantly send this to Tina and Katie and just say, hey, double check, I made about 6 changes, just take a peek at it. And all they had to do was click their email and see where it's at. I'm just going to actually send one out right now and just show you really quick how that works. And so in my email, if I can get there we go, some of these features out of the way. So I would go to my email and it would actually just show up as an email. in my box because I copied it to myself, and so I have it right here. And so then I can go in there, and it just, within one click, I'm at the email, I'm at the document, and here's the email. If I would have put a message in there, it would have put it right in there as a message. So I don't have to have a separate email. I would have an email conversation right there as we got started. And then, so if I go back to this presentation handout, a couple other things I wanted to show you on it are the comment feature. Our goal was at the end, I took off the directions off this one. We did have directions at the top. It was to resolve all the comments by the presentation. And so, whoops, undo that. So here, I accidentally typed that, so we're going to get rid of that, is I can show you some of these comments that we've gone through. We've had a lot of different conversation. And this is kind of a nice way to show what's been going on with all of our information. And so we've have a lot of conversation. As you notice, this is the history of the comments, and you can always bring a comment back. And so I can reopen this comment, and that's kind of a common problem that happens sometimes. Somebody might accidentally resolve a comment. But here's a comment stream we had, and so I was able to bring it back, and then I can actually resolve it, and it goes away. And we still have one more comment down here. And so we're just looking at the different ways that we use the comments within the document, and then we could more easily talk about it later.
And we didn't have to meet then on the presentation. We could be on the phone and working on the document in different locations.
Revision history is another way that's really nice. I was able to go back, and we could even look at what this document looked like, even on way back in the beginning when Tina started this. It just started off as a really basic, like, what was our handout going to be? And then we kind of moved through these different, so like when I click on this one, the green will be Tina's, and then I can see what Tina added to it on that time. And so I have, let's see here, on that one, I don't know if she added too much, but we have the purple was what we decided was going to be on the handout, and that was a way we kind of communicated with each other that these are the things we want on the handout. And then if you click here, I'll see that there's some more background. So we have some things we struck out, we deleted. It looks like Greg, because he's purple, he deleted all these things. And so that's kind of where it kind of gives you a background, and you can restore that version if you want to go back to that. It's really a powerful feature that can be applied in many different ways. So here's kind of our directions we talked about for guidelines, this document guideline. This is kind of what we talked about, is gives people direction on what's on page 1 and 2 of the handout. Page 3 is our presenter notes of ideas that we were going to use. And so if you go down here, you can see we had notes. Let's see if that's down here. We had notes of like to-do lists, present and rush, kind of our outline, what we're going to do. And so today we're going to talk for 15 minutes about examples and tech skill, and then we're going to show examples for 15 minutes actually. We changed it. We're going to talk for 15 minutes about examples, and then we're going to do another 10, 15 minutes about actually going through these tech skills. So we're kind of jumping around, but that's why we have the handouts. So we're going to go back to our original document now. And so just stay tight, and we'll get to we're flying through this right now, but we're going to walk it through so you walk away with about 8 to 10 skills you feel pretty comfortable with.
And then the handouts are on the Northern Lights Special Ed Cooperative website. And then we also use this as a pre-evaluation meeting document where we put at the top in red that we were going to review the old evaluation testing and then add in your new information below.
So this is the old information that somebody screenshotted into the document from SPED. And then if they scroll below it, this is the conversation, like if you keep going down, this is all the information that we added into it, and we had some comments going on about what's going on. And so this was kind of a nice way to have a conversation and kind of work on this. As opposed to just putting it on SPED, you can't have a conversation. It's a nice way to kind of work out these questions as we go. And then when we met face-to-face, we were able to kind of summarize this and work through it.
Yep. So that's one example, and then.
All right, so then we have we're doing an inventory here of a lot of different big equipment, and we have like 6 people working on it in different districts. And so we have this document, and what I want to show you, the main features, is so we have this is collaborative, we have like 8 people on it, and so we're all adding to it. But the nice part that I'm seeing here is, so everything takes a little while to load, as you notice that it takes a little bit to load. So this shows me that there's some comments on these tabs. So I click on here and I see there's a comment, and so if I click on that, it actually, if I hover over it, it actually shows me the comment, and so I'm able to go over here and find out where that's at. And so like here, this gate, this is actually, what did I put there? So that's a link to, I think, a picture. So that's the document, that's the item. But the one I really want to show you here is this one here, is that I was actually able to ask a question, or I was actually able to go right here. So you hover here, it says may not be owned by Silver Bay. So this column says owned by, and it just says may not be owned by it. And I could actually, ideally I would have put like Brittany's name on here because she's coordinating this document, just to kind of like, and then she could look at that specific cell, the specific cell, meaning this spot right here, and she would be able to answer that question and then resolve it. So I wouldn't have to say, go look in the document on page 3 in the 6th column on the 12th row, and then it's like, I've already lost her. She just clicks it and it brings it right to here. And it actually, I took a picture of some tabs that were on that device. So it just really, really improves communication a lot. So that's one of the nice things about that. We just want to show you a few examples of how it works. And so that was there. And then so we have, do we have any more? So team collaboration, there we go.
I also did a team collaboration document where you can hyperlink parts of the IEP or procedures for that child. So let's say that you have a lot of paras that work with the child, or the para is gone. They could have their access to a computer or iPad, and then they could see the information that they needed for that day. So we have OT has put their things in there. We have communication, how to use the gate trainer. This is a hyperlink. This is actually a picture.
It's okay.
We'll go back.
So this is a nice example of sometimes you need permission, and this can slow the whole process down, but all that means is you have to communicate with the owner, and then they give you access. Just sometimes it can slow you down, but once you get through that, it works really slow.
And they'll give you permission, and then you're able to access that all.
I think the OT one works pretty well. I saw that. This is just like Cliff Notes, really quick information. So these are, this is like one quick thing.
Just little thing we put that the OT could put on that she needs to use her iPad for writing, or other notes. That's just an example that we have here.
Great. Okay, so we are cruising along nicely. We're going to go through about 10 more minutes of kind of walking through. We kind of blasted through the examples and showed you some tech skills as we went. Now we're going to go real slow and go through the tech skills. And just to kind of start that off, at the bottom of one of the handouts here, we have terminology. Just to make sure we're all comfortable. Drive, that is this symbol here, this little picture, that's the drive. What that is, it's like a file cabinet, I like to explain. It's a storage of files. What are files? Files are a sheet, a document, a PDF, a PowerPoint, all those are files. And so what's a sheet? A sheet is like an Excel spreadsheet. A doc is like a Word document. Slides are like a PowerPoint. And these terms here, doc, sheet, and slides, those are all Google terms. But these are terms that we've heard more often, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So just getting comfortable a little bit with some of this basic terminology can help. So that's just a little refresher. So now we're going to switch over to the second document, the tech skills document. And like we said again, it'll be on the Northern Lights Special Education Cooperative website. Otherwise, you can type this shortened URL into a browser and find that. Any questions, just email the co-op and we can get you connected if you have any issues there. So
the first one is commenting. You can comment right on the page by seeing this icon over here and clicking on it. So you can comment there, add a comment. Right there, the name comes up, whose email you're in. Or then you can also go up to, you can highlight a keyword, like right-click, and right-click it and comment on the page that way too. And then that will be highlighted of the question that you may have, or the keyword to the question or comment you want to make.
And something to remember here is, like, whenever you're making a comment, really try to focus in on a relevant word. And so if I say relevant word and I say, this word, this one. And so when you go through this, the nice part is we're hoping you can pause this webinar and actually practice this. Like, go to a Google Doc and practice it once and see what it's like, because that's really the way you're going to learn this. And so put it on the relevant word. I'll say this one, and many people say, what does that mean? What is this one? But by clicking on it, so if I see that I'm over here, if I click on this, look to the yellow, and watch the yellow now, and it'll light up. So you know that's what it's talking about. So, and then it also has some features later. When you go up to this comment, you can see the archive of the comments like I told you about. And so that will bring it back, and it'll give you the word that was highlighted. So it makes it easier to understand that. So relevant word, and then the easiest way is just to highlight it and then look for this little shape over here. we did on the bottom of this, the very bottom of the tech skills sheet, these are some of the trusted sources for more information. And we talked about, we got a couple here from Shannon. We had a comment about this. I'm going to resolve this. We got some nice overall help places. Sometimes this is like a book, like a really good book. And so if you go here, this one kind of goes over it as a big group of options. And so it's one of the best places because I get lost on the internet looking at all kinds of different YouTube videos and things like that. But this one gives a nice overview of all of the different tools you can use here. So you go up here and you can see all these different, so overview, communicate, store, and collaborate. So it's a nice way to look at all those. So we encourage you to go back to these. Google Drive, this is kind of a specific spot for Google Drive only, and it spells it out in nice terms. So sharing files, here's some tips on how to do this. And so if you guys were to bookmark these are some really nice places to go to. And then this one is a little bit more in the same vein as this one here. And so you'll see that it's just got a nice overview, real quick to the point, and what you need for help. And so I did reference these up top in some hyperlinks. I'm getting you guys comfortable with terms here. So if you click on this, this is comment on a document. So if you went right here, this would give you even more information on how to work with commenting features. So that's for the advanced users, or if you just have questions, you want to read it more, that's how you get back to it. But we're just going to give you some bite-sized pieces today. So navigating Google Drive. So we're going to go up to our Google Drive here. I'm just going to show you a couple features. How do I get out of that? Okay, so I'm going to go to Google Drive a different way. And today we're going to show you some problems that will happen. That's just a part of the experience. You're just going to have to take a deep breath. That's what I do. Just take a deep breath, think about it, slow down, and then usually you can figure it out. And so we're just going to show you a feature here. Color coding is a nice way that kind of gives you some options. It's easier to glance at it. All you have to do is go like this, and you can change it to whatever color you like. And the other feature that people find that haven't been using it much is they can do this on the side. So if I want to move this LSSD to a different folder, I could go like that, nice and easy. And it just makes it easier to navigate by using these little arrows here. You can see the folders inside of folders. So that's kind of a nice feature on that. So we're going to go back to the tech skills sheet, and so you have a little image right there. And like I say, if you click on here, this will give you more information about that, and you can read even further on information about organizing Google Drive. So let's see here. So then we're jumping on to finding another document if you want it. So some high points on that are to add a file to your drive. This is one of the key features, is that when you get a document you want to use, you want to click on this button right here, and then that will actually put it into your drive so that it's easier for you to find. It creates, Shannon mentioned this, that it creates a link to that document, so it'll be in your drive. So when I do that, I can find. So like this morning, Kelly shared this with me, but I actually, she owns it, but I was able to bring it over to my drive, so I can put it in my folders. That makes sense, but it didn't move it for her. So that's kind of the key piece, is that's where you can say, so if I go over here to files shared with me, I can quickly go in here, and then, so if I wanted to get this into mine, I could say add to my drive, and then that would put it in a spot where I can find it without messing it up for Tina. So that's kind of a nice feature there. These are kind of the power features that we encourage you to understand. And then in the email you received with the document, so say you want to find that document again, just save that email, and if you want to just use that email, go for that. The other one is you can search the title of the document. What I do sometimes when I get a document and I know I'm going to be working on it for the next few weeks, I just write it on a Post-it note and stick it on my computer. If you can't see my computer, but I got Post-it notes all over it. And so it's just a nice feature. Then you can go in here and then type in the name of the document, and it'll pull it up. So those are some high points there about finding a document again. So notifications. This is, and like I say, if you click here, it'll give you more information. But the high points here is if you go to the top right corner here, I've got a little feature here. Let's see if I can get that off here. Let me see. So there's the gear button, and this gear, I've got too many things going on my computer right now. But if you go to this gear button when you're on your computer, let's see if I can get rid of that thing. Let's see. So this is actually read and write, but that's not what we're talking about. And so if you go to the settings of your documents, oh, you know what it is actually. So this is kind of how I'm showing you that sometimes we don't know all the answers, and so I just gotta slow down, and my IQ usually drops a little bit when I'm presenting, so I had to slow down. So here's what I'm trying to show you is we're at notifications. This is on your handout. If you want to get emails of the changes that happen on the document, well, this is where you go to. You go to your Google Drive, and then you go to this gear right here. Then if I want to get more notifications, this is for the whole drive then, is that I can go to the settings and then I can change, let's see right here, notifications. So this will I can get notifications whenever there's something shared, when there's requests for access, when there's any comments or suggestions. So those are kind of the places where you can change the settings on that. If you don't like getting those notifications, well, turn it off. If you do, you know, this is how you can adjust that. And then this is the link that gives you more information as to how to use those setting features of the notifications. And then we're continuing on. So we talked about emailing collaborators. That's a powerful tip. If you want to jump into that one.
And that one is just under file, and then you email the collaborators so that they all know that you made a change. Plus, even in comments, you can put an email if you want to directly ask somebody about a question, like maybe it's Greg that needs to ask about a Rifton chair. So he will get that email of that comment, and you can put it right into comments.
All right, we're having a little technical difficulty. I turned off my view here. So let's see if I can get it back. I turned off my file, but if you go to file, like I turned off, and that's where I say is that if you didn't have people watching you could figure this out a little easier. But let's see if I can get back to, there we go. So this is how you would do that. You go here, file, and so this is just like instead of having like a group email, this is a nice way to say, you know what, I only want to send this to Tina. I'm going to turn off Katie, and I'm going to say, you know, please review, I will print tomorrow. So that gives her kind of a heads up, you know, and I'm acting as the document, you know, facilitator. And it just depends on which team you're on, if one person really is the facilitator or not. But this kind of gives people a heads up that that's going to happen. So then she would get that email. So that's one of the powerful features there. And then so I'll go back down here, notifications. So these are the two handouts that we have. Let's see here. So comment. Oh, so say you want to show this one. So say you want somebody to get an email to make sure they see the comment. So we're going to go here, and there you go. So she wants to make sure that Katie or I get a comment.
So we look at revision history. You can go to File, and it says See Revision History. You can click on that, and then it shows all the revisions that people have made from when it started. So here's when we first started in February. You can go up and just see. And then you can see who made changes by the name under there or the colors. It's just a nice way to always come back and see how it's progressed too, and to know what you've taken out, what you've talked about.
And I've told people sometimes too, when I email collaborators, I'll say, hey, just do the revision history and you can see what I did for changes on the document versus putting a comment on every single change I made. It's kind of a nice feature. And then the piece about like making sure, like, so say I want Tina to get an email about this, because she's not the owner of the document. If you're the owner of the document, you get every comment, you get an email. But I want Tina, I want to make sure she gets this comment. So all I have to do is do a Shift plus, and then I type in T, and then I see her name. I could type in her email plus her email, and then I would hit this, and then now whatever comment, you know, I would say, please let me know if you like this word. She will get that comment, and she can actually email. She doesn't even have to go to the document, and she could respond to it in her email, or she could click on a link in the email, and it would bring her right back to this document, and she could put a comment back in there. So if you do it in your email, it'll actually just drop another comment underneath it, and she doesn't even have to go to the document. It's just a really nice, powerful feature, and you can add more than one email in there. You know, so say I wanted like Shannon Proul, our tech superstar here at the co-op, to kind of comment on this too. I would just add her in there, and then both people will get an email notification about that. Big thing with comments is you have to make sure you click here. That's how the comment is saved. Everything in Google you don't have to click save on, but comments, make sure you click on that button, otherwise it does not get sent. So that's notifications. I think, is that all of our tech skills? Where are we here? So tech skills. So yeah, shareable, revision history, shareable link. If you want to jump into that.
All right. So where do I go to?
So we're making a shareable link. We got to jump back to this document. So say you want to link something.
So say you want to link something, like we made these links on our presentation form. What we did is you would just highlight, or first you have to go to the document. Let's see. What do we got here? Let's go to this one.
So this is the document she wants to hyperlink into another document.
So first you're going to go to share. And then you see up here at the right corner, get shareable link. Or you could just hit copy link. Oh, it's already shared, that's why. So here you have it on here, the shareable link, and then you can just click copy, and then you can...
So it's in their clipboard now. It says link copied.
Hit done, and then you go back to the presentation, and then you can highlight here. Let's just pick beginner here. Highlight it. You're going to right click on it, and you're going to hit link, hyperlink, and then you're going to paste the shareable link into there and apply it, and then there would be your link. So then you can click on it. Oh, I hit double. And there's your shareable link that you can click into that document.
And it kicks you right over to it. The other way you can do it too, I'll just show a couple more options, is you could just click on this and copy it. And also when you're highlighting this, you can just go up to the top here and click on that, and it gives you the same feature. So that's the nice part. There's many different ways that you can do it. And if you don't like it there, I'm going to remove it because it doesn't quite fit there. So I'm going to resolve that comment. So that is the bulk of what we're talking about. We really encourage you to take 20-30 minutes and practice all of the things we just showed you. And if you have any questions, please contact us at the Cooperative. I can just put my email in there really quick, is that if you have any questions, just please email me, and we'd love to kind of walk you through some of these challenges, or anybody else that talks tech, and Shannon Proul is a Google superstar too. So thanks for attending.
Yes, thanks for listening to us today.
All right.